Don't fret, this might be a long video, yes, but as I said in the last video, I need to make these videos longer that I've been doing so far. So this might actually be the longest video so far, but also the one with most content. Hey guys, it's your bow, the doggo, and welcome back to Adastra, episode 7, I think. In the last episode, we met Cassius and Kato. I'm gonna call him Kato. I looked it up, and Kato would be the Swedish pronunciation, while the English is Kato. But Italian would be like
Cato.
So Kato it is. But we met them, and the Amicus introduced us as his pet. Then I started to get my pet duties. We did not end up washing him, but we brushed his fur, and he seemed very happy about it. So there seems to be some tension going on, and by tension I mean sexual tension. So yeah, maybe this game has more of that stuff than I originally thought. That
Cool. Wow, thanks guys for suggesting this game.
Anyways, we are on our way to breakfast now, and we are gonna meet up with Kato and Cassius, and maybe also Cassius' pet, I don't know. We will see. So let's go. So, who's Kato? The wolf you saw with my brother. He was my father's advisor, and currently the acting emperor. I mentioned earlier that he will be the one choosing between me and my brother. Right, you did, so that's the dude, okay. And that's why I'm doing my best to keep him in a good mood. Or at least not a bad mood. I don't think he has a good one. Oh, that's... okay. That's promising. I keep in my mind to stay on Kato's good side as well. Meanwhile, sunlight pours in through the open windows, and I can hear birds calling from the outside again. Birds? What was that? I can hear birds. I'm just surprised that they sound the same as they do on Earth. Ah yes, you wouldn't know this. All life has the same origin and develops in a roughly similar way. It's only natural that life is similar to your moon. Planet, I mean. Oh. Well, all life on this side of the universe at least. There may be another, but we'll leave that conversation for later. For now, I follow Amicus around the corner and find myself standing in a large, spacious room. I like the music here. I like the music overall in this game. The first thing I notice are the large screens on each wall of the room displaying colorful images of stars, galaxies, and spaceships. In the middle of the room are what looks like beds surrounding a table. In those beds are two of the walls that I saw earlier. Ah, there they are. Kato is sitting and leaning towards over Cassius, who is draped luxurious over one of the beds. I didn't think about it earlier, but he has his armor on apparently now. So he looks... I mean, he doesn't look as small as he did when he was almost nude, but he still looks small. Kato is talking to Cassius, while the other wolf has his typical sour expression. Sitting on the floor in front of Cassius' bed is a creature that I've never seen before. Ah, so this must be his pet. Oh my god, he's adorable. Can I have him? It's definitely not the wolf. More feline-like. Cassius has his paw on his head, idly scratching it as he listens to whatever Kato is saying. He sees us and abruptly stops, sitting up. Kato stops talking and looks over at us. You're late! Wow, everyone's here! And good morning to you, Cass. And to you, Kato. Alexius? His name's Alexius! Ah! Amicus turns to Kato and the small cat creature, bowing to both of them. Good morning. Morning, Amicus! The cat Alexius nods at Amicus with a smile. At the same time, I see Cassius tug on the gold collar around his neck. It isn't much, but Alexius immediately dropped his smile from his face, looking down. No, he went away. Come back. How many times do I have to tell you not to acknowledge him, Amicus? Amicus seems to ignore Cassius, walking to the empty bed, pulling me along with him. He whispers in my ear. Sit in front like Alex is doing. I look over at the cat and see his ears perk up in our direction, though he continues to avoid looking at us. He's in a kneeling position, so I do the same, starting to feel a little uneasy about this whole setup. Amicus meanwhile stretches out across the bread, an elbow in the cushion as he props himself up.
Come, send in breakfast.
Yes, Kato. A few seconds later, literal flying saucers levitate into the room from beyond another archway. I get the moment to see some sort of black device on the underside of the plate before they gently come to rest on the table. I blink, but I don't say anything, deciding just to take everything in without question. I decide to instead focus on the food. I can at least identify a few of the portions, one of them being what looks like bread. Then there's a plate of an odd white cumbery substance, and next to that is a bowl of what I'm pretty sure are olives. There's a glass bottle filled with some type of red liquid, probably wine. Finally in the middle, next to some towel-like napkins, is roasted poultry, golden colored and steaming. It actually smells really good, and considering that I haven't eaten any real food in over a day, I feel my mouth water. Still, I have enough common sense to know that I probably just can't dig in, so I keep an eye on the cat, waiting to see what he does next. He grabs four small plates from the tall stack and sets them down in front of himself. Then he starts to grab some slices of bread, which he sets down on one of the plates. I look back at Amicus and he nods, so I do the same, grabbing 4 plates and setting them out in front of myself on the table, starting to grab the separate portion of food to set them on their own plate. Meanwhile, Kato just leans over to grab his own, while Cassius clears his throat.
So, Amicus, what is this?
I look up and immediately find Cassius' eyes boring into mine. I quickly look back down and grab the wood-handled knife that Alexis just set down, using it to spread the white stuff onto the slices of bread. I wrinkle my nose at how stinky it is, and I realize that it's probably some kind of cheese.
This is Bo. He's my pet.
No, Amicus. What is it?
It's not one of our children. Does it belong to a sibling?
I'm half listening to the conversation while I see Alexis reach out with his bare paw and just pull a chunk of meat off the poultry. I hesitate, kind of wishing that I had a chance to wash my hands, but I do it anyway, wincing at how hard it is. The temptation is strong just to stuff it in my mouth, but I manage to set it down on the plate. Whoops. Finally, I grab a bunch of olives and put them on their own plate. At this point, I can see that Alexius is lining his plates up in front of Cassius on the bed. Carefully, I do the same for Amicus, though I lose an olive in the process. I watch it roll across the ground, but decide to ignore it, and Amicus just pats my head and mutter a thank you.
Would that come back with the olive that he rolled away, like they will point it out and be like, oh, he didn't pick up the olive, or look how messy he is, or whatever. Or maybe they have me eat it or something. No, he's from a failed uplift.
I watch as Alexia starts filling the goblet with the red liquid, but look up and realize that it's complete silence. Cassius and Kato are both staring at Amicus. I look back at him and see that he looks pretty calm, though I can see him picking at his claws.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Why? He's a barbarian!
Because I have decided that abandoned children deserve to establish regular contact. If we're to unite with the Chemians, then we also need to unite ourselves. Chemians, isn't there the next game Echo Project is working on? Isn't that called Chemia or something about that? I start filling Amicus' goblet as I feel his eyes on me. Child or not, having a pet like this will show the Chemians my intentions. Cassius scoffs loudly, popping an olive into his mouth and chewing it vigorously.
Masterful stunt, Amicus, but you still stole Father's ship to get there. Using stretch tech without authorization from the Emperor is a violation of the law. Is it not, Kato?
I hand the goblet to Amicus, silently wondering if the wolf is going to be thrown in jail on my first day here. What would happen to me then? Still, Amicus looks calm, and when he sees my wide eyes, he just winks.
It could be, but there is no Emperor, is there, Cassius?
Kato finally lays back, his small plates heaped high with food. He turns his head back to Amicus.
So are you saying that you piloted the ship to the outer reaches of the Empire? Voice commands only work for the Emperor, if I'm not mistaken.
That is correct. I learned to navigate the ship on my own. I was also able to communicate with the people, negotiate, and sign a contract with him.
This is where I start to hear Amicus' voice falter. I actually do believe that he doesn't lie often, because it's clear that he is bad at it. I copy Alexius and return to my leaning position next to the bed, then switch to a cross-legged when my knees get too sore. Kato watched from his bed silently, and I again feel unnerved at the feeling that he might be looking at me.
Fascinating.
Cassius curses his lips back.
Fascinating? He used a stretch drive. He's going to get away with it because father is dead? What does that make of all the other laws? Can a beggar now steal from the marketplace just because no authority is there to tell him not to? Can a child rebel from the Empire because there's no emperor to tell them?
Quiet, Cassius. You know the circumstances as well as I do.
Cassius snaps his mouth shut with a huff, turning his attention back to his food, which he starts to pick at. The conversation seems to stop there, and I wonder if Amicus is in the clear. While Cassius sure seems indignant, I get the feeling that Amicus wasn't in any danger in the first place. I guess being the Emperor's son has its perks.
Could I get some more of the Azorbo?
I look over at the table for a moment in confusion. Is Alex gonna help us? What's that? I try to keep my voice low, but that's when Cassius suddenly yowls, clapping his paws to his head.
Oh gods! It doesn't speak the language?
I look between Cassius and Amicus in confusion.
Of course not. They were abandoned. Most of the abandoned still speaks the language. How far away is his home star?
Roughly 50,000 light years.
I don't care! Don't have it speak again! The last thing I need is a headache for the lingua manually translating everything he says. It's barbaric!
I don't know if he's calling the headache barbaric. Or me. Probably me.
Upload this language to the Nexus before you let it out in public again, Amicus.
I decided that I really don't like Cassius. He's talking about me like I'm just some piece of property. Well, to them, you are. I mean, for them, you are basically like how someone would think of a dog or a cat or something. Of course, in real life as well, some people see their dog as their family member, and they're like, oh, this is my dog, my he, my her. They have a name, and other was like, oh, it's just the dog. I have the dog. The dog. Yeah, I think it's basically the same here. Then I feel Amicus paw on my shoulder for a moment, giving a soft squeeze before pulling back again. The conversation's topics then shifts to stuff that I really don't understand. Mostly politics and the Chemians, whatever that is. But what was Azor or whatever he asked for? Did he get it? Did I give it to him or did he pick it himself? Despite their fight earlier, Amicus and Cassius are pretty animated in the conversation. Amicus keeps sticking empty plates in my face, indicating that I should refill them. It's clear that I'm not going to be eating while the wolves are, and I feel my irritation grow. I'm not a servant, I didn't agree to this, and even if this is supposed to help me blend in, I can't help but feel that Amicus could have put me in a better position than this.
Virginia sent me a letter last night saying that she would be bringing back a Chemian tomorrow. He got trapped here after the stretch drive depletion.
Oh? He wasn't able to return on the retrieval ship?
He was an Anchorus at the time, so it took him several months to get back to Adastra. He's going to be our guest until the next ship arrives. And I think it's going to be quite interesting to see one in person. Who can say that they have met two siblings?
Oh yeah, because Alex is a sibling, right? Cassius reaches down and starts stroking Alexia's head fur. The green and grey cat closes his eyes, smiling and purring. He's so cute! I watch this for a moment, and then freeze up as I feel Amicus' paw on my head. Should I start purring as well? Prr, prr, prr. Oh, Amicus, prr. He starts to gently scratch his blunt claw on my scalp, ruffling my hair around. It actually feels really good, but knowing what he's doing gets me pissed off all over again. Ugh, chill, my man! He already knows that I don't want to be doing this, that he brought me here against my own will. And now he's stroking me in public like I actually am his pet? Well, I guess it makes sense. I guess he's doing this part to help me blend in just like I'm doing mine. But that doesn't mean I don't hate it. And then his other paw sticks his empty goblet down under my nose. More wine, please. I let the goblet hang in the air for a moment, and then reach out robotically for the heavy wine bottle, getting up on my knees to better pour into the empty goblet. I fill it up as Amicus continues to stroke me. Well, I guess even fewer can say that they have met an abandoned species. Wouldn't you think? Cassius glares at Amicus, and I glare at the wine. I try to remind myself that this is just to help me get me home. Or maybe he's actually just showing me off because he likes how it gets under Cassius' fur. I turn on my knees to face the wolf and hand back his goblet, not seeing how full it is, the wine almost sloshing over the rim. Amicus reaches out for the goblet. Oh no, is it gonna drop it something? My fingers twitch, then I feel the goblet slip out of my hand, watching it as it seems to fall in slow motion onto the side of the bed. Oh no! Wine stains on the bed! No! The wine shoots out of the red gush, splashing around Amicus' lighter furred front. Oh no! The wolf gasps, sitting up suddenly as the wine pours over his chest and stomach and onto his pants. Damn! Meanwhile, Cassius bursts into laughter behind me, snorting obnoxiously.
Maybe there's a reason so few have ventured out to meet them. Because
I see Alex staring at me, but when I meet his eyes, he looks down. Amicus reaches over for one of the towels, glancing down at me as he does. I try to keep myself from smirking, but I think I fail. He pauses, staring at me in astonishment, as I guess he realized that I did it on purpose. Oh, you fucking ass! He doesn't look angry though, and instead grabs his towel and starts patting down his front. The fur still stained a dark maroon color. Oh no, maybe we will have to clean him now. Oh no, we don't want that now, will we? No. What an accident!
What are you doing, Amicus?
Cassius has finished up his laughing and look over to see him staring at us.
What do you mean, what am I doing? I'm cleaning up the mess.
Amicus growls at Cassius, continuing to pat himself down.
Dear God, you really don't know how to do this. Punish it!
Cassius lazily flops one of his paws in the air in a slapping motion. Uh-oh. I snap my gaze at Amicus, glaring again.
No, I can't do that.
Why not?
It's in the contract. No physical punishment, just like Alexius.
What?
You heard me.
Alexius is a sibling. That thing is barely even a child.
He is mine and none of your business.
Punishment is the only way to teach a lesser species, Amicus.
He looks at me.
You, creature, up! I'll hit you instead.
Cassius!
I jump, and so does Cassius, ears ringing as Amicus' deep voice bellows over me. Meanwhile, Kato just lounges on his bed, listening. Or maybe not. Maybe he's asleep.
I'll make this very clear right now. You are never to lay upon him or give him orders of any kind.
Cassius, having recovered, raises an eyebrow at Amicus.
And if I do, brother?
Amicus first starts to lay flat on his shoulders again as he shrugs.
I'll punch you.
What? You can't do that. We're not pups anymore.
And if you call him it again, I'll do the same.
Cassius seems to choke for a moment.
What in the world has gotten into you, Amicus?
He looks at the older wolf.
Kato!
Yes, Cassius?
Well, do something! He can't threaten me like that!
Amicus, be nice to your brother.
Cassius' ears turns bright red and he slumps on the bed, glaring at his remaining food.
Anyways, if you two are finished, then we can be off to your studies. And don't be late this time, Amicus. Your tutor complained again last week.
Oh, that's today?
You know, you should take care to start paying more attention. After seeing what you accomplished, I'm starting to lean towards trials in making my decision.
The room suddenly goes very quiet.
And Cassius, I need to speak with you for a moment before you leave.
Amicus gets to his feet, and I do the same. The wolf glances at Cassius and Kato, but they're deep in conversation.
I forgot that it's my study day, so I'll be gone for a little while. I'm going to ask Alexius to show you around and give you something to do while I'm away.
I feel myself grow tense at the idea of being without the only person I know around here.
Seriously?
Listen, you don't have to do anything. I'll make that clear to everyone, but I feel like you might rather have something to do rather than sit in my room all day.
He seems to think it's the chores that I'm upset with rather than him leaving me alone. Alright. Amicus frowns at me, and I can't help but feel a little bad. He does seem to be trying to make things as easy as possible for me. And... sorry. A gesture at his still stained front. Don't worry. Yes, wine isn't easy to get out of the fur, but I know why you did it, and I deserve it.
Is it... he's speaking it's his language again?
Shut up, Cassius.
What?
Alexius. Amicus gestures at a small cat who is currently stacking the dirty dishes on top of each other. Could you please show Bo around the palace along with the tasks and activities you do? He's unfamiliar with nearly everything.
I would be happy to, Amicus. So you can order my pet around?
Kato, standing over by the doorway, clearly eager to leave, sighs.
Enough. Try to be reasonable, Cassius. Now both of you will be off to your studies. And a quick shower for you, Amicus.
Amicus grumbles and starts to turn away, then turns back to me, resting upon my shoulder. I'll be back towards the evening. The big wolf pauses, as if wanting to say more, but leaves me with a simple, I'll see you then. And then he's gone. Oh no, he's never coming back. I'm alone now, holy shit, help me! And with that, he gives me a little wave and another wink before following Cassius and Kato through the archway. Just as Amicus leaves, Cassius pauses to give me a sour look. Then again, most of his expressions are pretty sour, but it still makes me uncomfortable. And then I'm left with a cat. I feel an odd sense of loneliness at seeing Amicus just leave like that. It's just like my mother just dropped me off at preschool or something. He's the only one that is treating me like an actual person. Mostly, at least. I hear the small sound of something clearing its throat behind me. Hello. The small cat smiles at me pleasantly, his paws clasped neatly in front of him. I like how he has, like, the vine, what is it called? Grapes. The grapevine behind his ear is cute. I say he's small, but he's really about the same height as me. It's just odd seeing another alien in my size when I always have to look up at the wolves. Hi. I see Alexi's left eye twitch as he raises his paw to his head. Oh no, the lingo thingy.
Oh dear, this is going to be an interesting day.
Is something wrong? More twitching.
Just my lingua. It will take a while for you to learn your language, but it gets better the more you speak. So, if you don't mind, I would like to know more about you. I'm very curious.
He is so cute. I can't get over it. Amicus told me to act dumb, so I tried to figure out how I might do that. I fix a distant look on my face. Far away. Alexius blinks and then giggles.
Oh!
We both stand there awkwardly for a moment before he gestures at the table.
Well, why don't you have a seat? We eat the leftovers when they're finished.
The cat moves over to the side of Kato's bed, reaching out for his own small plate. I'm reminded of how hungry I am, so I quickly do the same, choosing to sit on Cassius' bed since Amicus is covered in wine.
Will this food agree with your stomach?
I think so. It actually kind of looks like the same stuff that I eat back at home. I mean, it's basically bread, olives, and meat. I point to each of the dishes. Alexius put his paw back up on his head.
Oh my, so many words! And in full sentences too!
I freeze. I mean, I don't really know what food this is. I'm just guessing.
No, I mean, it's your words. So many of them are in complete complex sentences.
Fuck, I'm bad at this.
I guess the wolves uplifted their intelligence a lot more back then.
Oh, maybe. I wonder if I ruined the plans already, but Alexis doesn't seem alarmed, just curious, so I turn my attention back to the food. There isn't much left on the table. The meat was mostly cleaned to the bone by Kato. Next to it are the 4 slices of bread and a bowl of olives. Alexius starts at the portrait, working at it with his claws until it comes apart in 2 pieces with a loud tearing sound. He hands me 1/2.
You should be able to find a little meat on there.
I take it from him, trying not to show my disappointment. Then he puts 2 slices of bread on a plate and slides it towards me before taking the remaining 2.
Make sure to use the cheese. The bread is a bit bland without it.
I pull a few strips of meat off of the bone and taste it. It's good. Really, really good, and I quickly search the bones for more, but there isn't much at all. Hungry? I look up and see Alexius delicately picking his own half of the bird. Yeah, but I haven't eaten in a few days.
Oh, really? Why not?
The trip here was a bit rough. I guess I did eat on the ship, but it wasn't very filling.
Oh, like the protein sludge they have? Yeah, that stuff is quite terrible. I can't understand why you're hungry then. Well, you won't have to worry.
Why not?
We eat dinner with our masters in their room. Amycus always serves himself very large portions and also sneaks me my own food, since Cassius doesn't take much himself.
Alexius slowly spreads cheese onto his bread.
He will take good care of you in that respect.
And with that mention of Amycus, I start to feel a bit lonely again. Actually, something that I've noticed is that this whole place seems to be lonely. Are we developing Stockholm Syndrome about Cassius or Amycus? So, where is everyone? Alexius chews thoughtfully on his bread. I try to think of a way to phrase things stupidly, then give up as I decide that he already knows that I'm able to form complex sentences. This palace doesn't seem to have very many people around.
Oh, well, did you expect others to be here?
Well, I guess like servants or guards or some other officials?
Most needs in the palace are covered by artificial intelligence and drones. Same goes for the palace defense. I suppose it may differ from where you're from, but the siblings learned long ago that the fewer CPUs you have in a location that needs to be secure, the better. You and I are an exception.
The bread tastes like literal shark, so I decide to spread a little bit of the cheese on it, despite the smell. To my surprise, it's actually salty and creamy, and not bad at all. That's the interesting thing about cheese, it can smell really bad and then it tastes actually pretty nice. The smell is hard to ignore though. So, what is the point of having a pet then?
Amycus didn't tell you?
Well, he did, but he mentioned status and stuff. Is there any other reasons? Why do you have to do stuff for them when they have robots that can do it instead?
Status is the main reason, yeah. Our duty is to be by their side during public appearances or in official meetings. Obviously, having an artificial sapient doing the same thing isn't impressive at all. We don't really have anything manual to do in the palace, but Cassius likes the idea of sapients being his servants. He says it reminds him of the old days.
Ah, I see. Amycus told me that I don't really have to do anything for him, except for brushing his fur.
Ah, yes, Amycus is very meticulous about that.
Do you know him well?
Fairly well. I've been here for a few months now, so I have my fair shares of interaction with him, even though Cassius doesn't like it.
I see. What do you think of him?
I think that you are very lucky to have a master like Amycus.
Aw. Why's that?
Well, Amycus is very kind. Sometimes he tries to be very official and assertive, and he likes to tease me, but he comes off as more open, whether he attends it or not. This is all compared to Cassius, of course.
I think for a moment. Do you like being Cassius' pet? There's a pause, though Alexius continues to smile.
Cassius is very specific about how he wants to be talked to and such, but this is a great quality for a prospective emperor to have, for sure. But in casual conversation, it's much easier to talk to someone like Amycus.
I was gonna say, correct me if I'm wrong, but don't spoil anything for me. But what I think is, obviously there has to be something going on between Alex and Cass. They have to be, like, behind closed doors. They probably are having some kind of relationship, I would think. Since they are both siblings and they signed a contract agreeing to do this, I would think that they are probably have like fallen in love or something and decided to, like, for them to be together. Alex is gonna be Cass' pet, and he's like Amycus treating him in public like, oh, you are just my pet and I decide over you, la la la. But when they are together, just the two of them, I think they are like a more actual of a couple. I would think, but I don't know. Maybe they're just banging. I take a sip of the wine, and as far as I can tell, it's similar to the few times I've had it on Earth. Yeah, he has been really nice to me. At least after the whole kidnapping thing.
He's a very kind person. He just tends to not think everything through.
Alexia's eyes flicked to look behind me before he focused back on my face.
Understand that normally we wouldn't speak so candidly about our masters. This is just a conversation between pets.
Oh, yeah, I understand. There's a moment of silence that goes on just long enough to be uncomfortable.
Yes, I thought you would. I have to say that you're extremely perceptive, almost on the same level as a sibling.
I wince internally as Alexius points out my intelligence again. Only took me 10 minutes to fail at my one and only job. Alexius smiles at me again.
Ah, was I not supposed to know that?
Apparently he is perceptive as well.
Don't worry, like I said, this is between pets.
Alexius leans in conspiratoriously.
I don't just blab everything to my own master. I'm simply his servant, not spy.
He leans back again.
Though he might wish I was, but honestly, it's really nice to be able to talk to someone that's other than my superior. Amicus was the only one who treats me like an equal, but Cassius usually keeps our contact minimal.
I put the last bit of bread in my mouth. As soon as I do, Alexius sits up.
Come, we're finished.
Yes, Alexius. I watch with fascination as the dishes levitate off the table and float through the archway they originally came from.
Do you want to go outside? Like I said, there's nothing much to do, but the gardens do require a more sapient touch to keep them presentable.
Yeah, sure. I brush crumbs off my jeans and stand up. I'm still hungry, but the amount that I've eaten has taken the edge off it at least. I follow Alexius quietly through the halls, really enjoying the architecture of the palace for the first time. Wow, enjoying architecture. If you don't know it, Chaser, my boyfriend, is an architect. He's been working as an architect for a few years now, and he's also finishing his master's in architecture. So every time we're out in the city, like a new city, he just walks around like, wow, look at that building, look at the details here. Oh, I don't know the English words, but he speaks in architectural terms, and I'm like, yeah, that's a house. Yes. But I mean, personally, I've started to enjoy architecture more since I started dating him for the last couple of 9 years. Anyhow, we enter the main hall, and Alexius stands in the sunlight pouring in through the archways.
Ah, aren't the mornings beautiful here? This is the best time to do work in the gardens. I'd say that we have a good 3 hours before it gets too hot.
So I suppose it may be like 7, 8 in the morning then? We start walking out into the gardens when I'm suddenly struck by something odd. So, you just said that we have 3 hours?
Yes?
Well, how long is an hour here? I was actually thinking of it. I was going to comment on this. Because the first thing that hit me was like in the Mass Effect universe, for you who know it and have read the books, they explain how time works on the Citadel, like the main hub of the galaxy. The Citadel, and since everyone are from different planets from different parts of the universe, they all preserve time differently or count time differently. So this is like a big space station. So I think that they explain that an hour are like 111 minutes or something, and a day is about 27 of those minutes, 27 of those hours. So it's totally different than we have it on the Earth, and they just speak in hours and days and stuff, but you know that their hours and days are much longer than we have on Earth. So it's so complicated. So you just don't think about it. So I was wondering if it's something similar here, but I guess Alex will explain it now. Well, how long is an hour here?
The same.
Oh, we use the same minutes and hours and stuff? That didn't seem possible. Alexius thinks, rubbing the spot above his eyebrow.
Well, the lingua is a complicated device. It's parental tech, so it does something that we don't really understand at all. But what we do know is that it translates languages in a way that offers the best understanding possible for the host.
Alexius crouches on a pillar, examining the ivy growing around its surface.
I used the measurement of time specific to the wolves and their language, and the lingua simply translated to the measurement that you better understand.
The small cat chuckles.
It's not perfect and can create really confusing situations, especially when it comes to certain words and numbers.
Oh, I actually like when they do that. Like, there's something that they know that the player, the one who is reading, watching, or playing the thing, will ask about and think about, that they just tell you, like, don't bother trying to understand. This is too complicated. We haven't thought it through. And then make sure that it's not, you don't need to know it. It has no point. As mean, we won't need to know about how time works because it won't have an effect on the story. Like, we won't appreciate the story any kind more because we know how time works. Instead, if it was about time traveling and stuff, we would probably have to know more about how time works. But when it doesn't, we don't need to know about it, and they can just say, oh, no one really knows because it's too complicated. And that's fine. I like when they do that kind of stuff and trying to explain it, and they just make it worse, making like plot holes and stuff. So I enjoy that. I see Alexia single out a small white flower growing on the base of the pillar before he plucks it out and sets it on the side. I start to wonder if I should maybe learn the language. The lingo is impressive and all, but it doesn't seem like it's very specific. Alexia grins. Don't think too much about it. Just try to remember that it doesn't mean that everything actually is the same. There are 19 hours on a day on Adastra, which I imagine at least is somewhat different compared to your own planet. How does he know that they lived on a planet and not on the moon? Amicus always does it wrong. He always refers to Earth as a moon before he changes to planet, but Alexius already know that it's a planet. Is that because he's from a planet and not the moon, maybe? Anyways, what I'm doing right now is pulling up some weeds. The drones do a good job at watering and pest control, but they often miss smaller weeds like this. I crouch at the pillar next to Alexius, searching through the ivy for weeds to pull out the base. So, there are 19 hours in a day here? Yeah. That's a bit shorter than back home. Oh, I get that. There are 30 hours in a day where I'm from. You get used to it after a few weeks, though. I prefer it, actually. I turn my attention back to the pillar and suddenly find myself staring at the strange crab-like thing sticking to the stone. At first I'm wondering if it's a carving of some kind, since it's so big. But as I look closer, it moves and I realize that it's a massive living spider. Oh no. The next thing I know, I'm rolling away from the pillar action movie style before popping back up on my feet. Oh my god! What is it? A spider thing! I stand a good 10 feet away from the pillar now, but I can still see the massive spider, its thick legs fanned out to the width of a clock. I shiver. Ew! Ah! Oh, I see. I stare at him. How is that funny? Oh, I'm sorry. They are very startling when you first encounter them. Alexius walks over to the spider and starts making shooting motions at it. And even from here I can see its black beady eyes. It doesn't move at all, choosing to sit motionless on its pillar. Adastra arachnids and insects are disturbingly large compared to the ones on my home moon. I look around, suddenly feeling like I'm in danger, imagining giant wasps descending from the skies. Alexius starts to look more frustrated as the spider refuses to be intimidated by his limp-wristed swipes. Nothing in this garden is dangerous though, and they're needed to balance the ecosystem. These creatures' venom is far too mild to cause much more than an itchy bump, if it bites at all. Alexius takes another weep swipe at the spider, and it takes its opportunity to bolt up his arm so fast that it becomes a blur before stopping on his face. Oh my god! For a moment, we both stand there in shock as he clings to him like a facehugger. Oh my god, Jesus. Then... By Callan, get off! He dances around in place for a moment as I simply watch in fascinated horror. Finally, he shakes his head hard, then the spider runs down his front to scuttle across the ground and into some bushes. Alexius heaves and breathes for a moment, trembling. Despite myself, I have to laugh in amazement at what I just saw. Why are you laughing? Sorry, it was just so surprising, and you were so sure of yourself until... I chuckle again. Well, it surprised me. He shivers, rubbing his shoulders. There's honestly nothing to be afraid of when it comes to those, but it was right on me, and the way they move. He shudders again. And you just stood there and watched. I mean, What could I have done? If that would have happened to me, I would have jumped into the pond. Alexius sighs, and I see his fur start to flatten down again. Then he also chuckles. Well, I was about to. Anyways, let's get back to work. If you see another spider, just work around it. For the next hour, we move from pillar to pillar, cleaning up the unwanted weeds. I'm way more vigilant now, checking every pillar for spiders before we start. I said it before, and I say it again, I love the music so far. This almost sounds like something that could be in Minecraft. I love it. Luckily, we don't come across anymore. After a while, we finally come to sit on a bench under some trees, and Koma flows out with a few platters of tiny pastries that reminds me of quiches. And those are followed by glasses of cold, green, vegetable-tasting drinks. It's delicious. So, can I ask you where you are from? Very far away, even further than your home. So, what brought you here? The cat sighs and pauses with a pasture halfway through his mouth. It's a bit complicated, but I was here as a sort of ambassador. I arrived just as a stretch drive depletion occurred. That has to be when the dad died, like the emperor when he died. Since there's no emperor, they can't get new stretch drive fuel from the parents. I think. What was that? Alexius shrugs. Well, for whatever reason, the Romans stopped supplying the wolves with stretch drive power when the emperor died. They're starbound right now, so they can't shuttle me back to my planet. Oh, okay, so that's how you got here, okay. I still think there might be some tension between them though. Sexual tension. The situation between the wolves and the parents is worrying. I would not know how long the wolves will be without the stretch, so my people sent their own ship to retrieve everyone from Adastra, but I missed it. Wasn't that the same thing that happened to the other person they were talking about before? Missed it? Alexius frowns, looking embarrassed again. Well, I kind of slept in and missed the departure. Wow, really? I mean, it happens to the best of us, no? I guess. But why didn't it leave for you? That's kind of messed up that they just leave. When using stretch tech, time is important. Everything runs on a specific schedule, so if you miss it, you miss it. And they're certainly not going to send out another one for just one person. Wow, but didn't you have an alarm clock or something to wake you? Trust me, it was a series of many unfortunate events that led to this happening. The main one being that even though I woke up with enough time to reach the starport, I got lost in Adastra's terrible public transportation system. I was running from platform to platform, and wolves all around me trying to touch me because they have never seen a cat before, and I could barely read the signs because, well, for my species, water comes out of the eyes when we get stressed, so... Oh, it's so sad. Poor Alexios. Oh, you were crying. You know what that is? Yeah, my species does it too. He looks away, and I can see the inside of his ears turn red. Ah, I didn't know that. It's a shared trait among us and the wolves, but I didn't know many other species that do it, aside from the Chemians. Anyways, I eventually decided to use my situation to continue my work and build a relationship with the Imperial family, so I became Cassius' pet. Alexia's situation doesn't sound that all different from mine, even though the reasons for us getting here were very different. And when does the next ship come? Alexius shrugs. Years. At least one a decade, but sometimes more. I'm hoping within the next few years though. I'm sorry to hear that. Well, it's not the worst life, and the wolves treats me well enough. We do have a special relationship. With Cassius? Between us and the wolves. Unlike other siblings, our parents are generated from the same galaxy. Though our views are very different, there are bonds there. That's nice. Alexius brushes his paws together. Are you done? Yeah. Come, we're finished. And with that, the platters and glasses float away. I'm starting to get used to all of this. But, Bo, was it? Yeah.
I'm sorry, I guess we skipped introductions. You already know me as Alexios, but you can just call me Alex.
Hello, Alex.
Hello, Bo. So now that we are no longer pretending that you are not a sapien anymore, where are you from? Tell me about yourself.
That gives me some pause. While he's been really nice to me so far, I know I can't just reveal everything to Alex, so I settle on being vague like he was. Well, I'm from far away, but less far away than you. I'm a primate.
I see. Are you important among your people?
No, I'm just a student.
Oh, do you know why Ampyx chose you then?
I actually think that he just chose me at random. I just happened to be where the uplift occurred. Alexios blinks and then laughs.
Oh, that's just like Ampyx.
Yeah, it is actually.
But I guess it makes sense to choose a commoner if he wants to unite the abandoned children again.
Oh, yeah? I decide that shifting the conversation away from me is a good tactic for now.
Yeah, didn't he explain that to you?
Maybe a little. He didn't tell me all that much.
Don't take it personally. Ampyx doesn't often think ahead. Right now, the wolves are in a bit of a strange situation. Again, this is between you and me, but they've fallen behind the other siblings in the terms of spread and resource. The main reason being that they don't uplift the children to the same intelligence level as themselves.
Intelligence levels? I thought they just spread their culture. Alex frowns at me.
You don't know? I guess you were abandoned, but you should know that your intelligence, every child's intelligence, was uplifted by a sibling.
Oh, no, I guess I was lost with that bit of information.
Well, that is not the end of their problem. These children are indentured servants in a way. In exchange for having their intelligence mostly uplifted, they have to serve the Empire until their debt is repaid.
Now that doesn't sound so good. Oh, and how long has that been going on?
Well, let's just say that the first successful uplifted wolf children haven't quite finished repaying their debt.
That sounds like slavery. Alex glances at me.
It does, doesn't it?
That's confusing to me. But if they have all these robots and stuff, why do they need sapiens to be the slaves?
Advanced artificial sapiens are gifted by the parents. We can't build them. We're a bit spoiled here in the palace, but outside not so much. And even then, artificial sapiens isn't perfect and likely never will be. Actual thinking machines doesn't exist. This is why uplifting children to the same intelligence level as the siblings is important. Good ideas can come from anywhere.
I guess your people don't do what the wolves do then.
No, we uplift children as much as we can. This practice is isolated to the wolves. They're seen by the other siblings as harsh on the other children, and the right of sapiens in general.
I see. I'm starting to see the wolves and even Ampyx in a whole new light. And as if reading my mind, Alex goes on.
But things are changing. Ampyx choosing you as his pet shows that he sees you as close to an equal. But then there's Cassius.
Alex's tail swishes around on the bench between us.
He'd rather things stay the same, or even regress. And that's why he made a strong challenge against Ampyx. There are many wolves who are unsure of the change Ampyx suggests, and the proposed alliance between the wolves and the Chemians are only adding to it.
Chemians?
They are in another sibling species, the most powerful in the galaxy in fact. But that worries a lot of people here. There hasn't been a war between siblings in over 100 years, but the last one was between the Chemians and the wolves. You can imagine the sort of problem that this might create. So Cassius wanted the wolves to stay independent and in complete control of the children is rather popular. You might wonder why I'm telling you all of this, but I want you to understand the empire that you're in. It would make it easier to navigate.
I was in fact wondering why he was telling me all of this. Does he have some sort of motive that he's not telling me? I look over at him. Do you want Cassius to become the emperor?
I like that we can discuss a lot of things, and in being a sibling allows me to have more freedom than most, but that's one thing that I should probably keep silent on.
That only confuses me more, but it doesn't sound like he's on Cassius' side. Maybe Ampyx and I could find an ally in him. Well, I think that I would prefer Ampyx if this whole thing is to treat other sapiens equally. From what I can tell, that seems to please Alex.
Well, we'll find out soon enough after the trials.
Alex's mood suddenly brightens.
But anyways, I've really been enjoying our time together today.
Like I said, it's nice to be able to talk to someone who isn't my superior. I hope we can do this often while you're here. Yeah, of course. Wonderful. Alex raises a paw to look at the sun. At Vita. Would you keep working? It's starting to get too hot down here.
Ooh, okay, I'm not sure where this episode ends right now, where I decide to cut it. Because I've recorded for 3 hours, and then my audio recording from this microphone stopped working. Or it stopped. It cuts with 3 hours, and I didn't notice that it cut, so I recorded for like 10-15 minutes after that without this sound, and therefore I decided that I stop there and I start a new recording and continue to where there's a good way to stop, and then I cut this into 2 episodes instead of having one giant episode. So yeah, I'm not sure where we are ending off this one or where we will start next one, but it's here. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, and yeah, I love you guys. Thank you for watching. So take care, and remember that you're loved and appreciated, and that you should be proud of who you are, because I want to see you in the next episode.